Hello, this is Lana McCara, and this is my daughter, Miriam, medical medium Miriam. And today we are going to talk about something really interesting, how to use your body as a lie detector. This is something that has come up in our sessions. Actually, the last time when Miriam was talking in one of her healing weekends, somebody raised their hand and said, can you use sway testing as a lie detector? And the answer is
yes, absolutely, you can.
You can. Okay, yes, and we're going to tell you how, and it's going to be so easy that you're going to absolutely be floored how easy it is. Okay, so this is based on science, by the way. A lot of empaths will be listening to this. Yes, being an empath helps, but we empaths, because both of us are.
We both are. Highly empathic.
Highly empathic. We get fooled.
Sometimes.
Yeah, we still do. So what we've learned to do is to tap in. And then we also have somebody that we'll double check with too, which we have each other. But even if you don't have anybody to double check with, you can still do this. Okay, so let's get started. Your body is a lie detector. So what's the first step, Miriam?
The first step is simply tuning in. And this is both much more simple and more complicated than it sounds, because we're not taught and we don't habitually listen to our bodies. And yet, if we take a few deep breaths, if we quiet our minds, and our breathing is very, very slow and deep, and you're getting in touch with your body, you're feeling the way you're standing, you're feeling the way that your body is moving. And this is interesting, because we don't realize that when we balance, we self-correct. When you're standing up, you are never standing completely still. Your body is always moving just that little bit to keep itself standing up. Like the muscles are self-correcting at all times. So if you can get in touch with that feeling of movement, that even when you're standing still, and then begin tuning in, and having somebody to test to helps, because if you have something that you have a strong reaction to in your hands and you come into that space, you're going to sway. It just happens.
Yeah, it happens. It happens. So basically, quieting the mind and coming into the body. And there's a lot of stuff on YouTube about, quieting and getting in tune. And some people do yoga and they're like this. And there's a lot of different ways to do it. Mainly what we do is we just stop, get into heart space, and pause, and just ignore the traffic out there. And we just pause and we feel our body, Now we're sitting down right now. But the optimum way, we've been doing this for so long now, we can actually do it sitting down.
Sitting down is fine if you're accustomed to it. Yeah.
You get used to it. But if you're just starting, you're going to be standing up, and you're going to be feeling the sway of your body as you're standing there, and self-correcting. Now, we did find some YouTube videos on this. Miriam found a couple.
Yeah, and there are lots of them out there, but I just chose some that I felt were really good explanations, and you could follow easily.
Yeah, one of them's a doctor, and he goes into some medical and scientific stuff about why this works, and another one is just a really good teacher, and she does a really great, fabulous job. We don't need to reinvent the wheel, so we just attach that. If you're not familiar with sway testing, it's simply letting your body go forward, or asking your body a question and watching the response of it. That'll tell you whether what you just said was true or not. Now, let's talk a little bit about where to use this.
I started with food. I was very ill for a long time, and one of the ways I came out of that was by using sway testing to see if food was good for me or not, and only eating what my body gave me permission to eat. And so I started with food. Food is a great place if you want to get past the advertising hype and find out what is actually good for you.
Low fat, no fat, low salt, high salt, whatever.
No carb, all carb.
Keto, paleo.
Yeah,
come on,
exactly.
Let's keep going. We could just be here all day. Well, it's just a bunch of hype, right? I mean, yeah, there are some good points about a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
What do I want today, right now, for breakfast?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And your doctor can't tell you that, and I can't tell you that. Only your body can tell you that. And so it's looking at that. And there are, like she said, there's some good things about eating fats, and there's some good things about eating carbs, and there's some good things about all those things. But what is good for you right now? That's the question. And that's what you can answer for yourself if you just take a little time and play with this and practice. you set yourself free in a lot of ways from all of that massive amount of information that is kind of like pounding us, every day, on the radio, on the TV, on Facebook, on Instagram, whatever you're looking at. There's always this message that's on the side, this and this is true. Well, is it? Well, you can tell if you actually take the time to tune in and learn how to listen to your body, how to sway test. You can know if that's true for you or not.
You can even judge advertising. You can check politicians. You can listen to anybody say anything and judge and ask your body, and your body will tell you if that person is lying to you. If your teenager comes in and says, oh, look, we had a flat tire, that's why we're late. Well, there's a way to tap into them and see if they're lying to you. Okay, that's how deep this goes. I mean, you can have confidence when somebody's talking to you if you'll take that moment, take that breath, come into your body, and just mentally, don't have to say it out loud, ask yourself, is this truth? Or make it a statement, this is true, and see what your body does. It'll tell you if that is true or not. I love it because you can even use it. Didn't you used to use it watching football?
I did. I did. I could actually kind of tell which team was going to win. And there's a lot of variables to that. I wouldn't go betting on it.
No, don't go betting on it.
But I could tell, like the changes in the game and the way things were moving and which players were injured and lying about it.
There's a lot of ways you can use it.
Yeah, there's a lot of ways you can use it. Yeah, that's one thing I did learn in testing with games is that, the variables are so many that predicting wins on horse racing or lottery or anything like that is very, very low.
Too much going on.
Too much information.
Yeah.
It's very good yes or no questions. And sometimes, when you're testing yes or no, is this true? The person talking to you may actually believe it's true. But if your body says it's not, then for you, it's not true. So you can just okay, I don't have to worry about that and discard it. There's always a possibility they're straight up lying, but there's also those variables in there as well.
Yes, because I think we live in a one-size-fits-all society where, the medical people and a lot of people, even aromatherapists and other people, they want to tell you what's right for you.
Mm-hmm.
When actually your body may be going, not for me. I'm sure we've all had that, or maybe something is just off today because we are in a constant state of change. Our bodies are constantly in change, and our mind, our spirit, and so forth.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's because you have to pay attention to, even if you're not sway testing, if you pick up something and you kind of have this reaction to it, pay attention. Something about that, whether we're for today or for always, whatever it is, you need to investigate that, because if you're having an actual revolt from it, then, and that's instinctive.
It's like, woo!
Then you have to pay attention to that. Now, it may be that, there's some emotional thing that's going on that's interfering with your understanding of, it could be a memory that's coming up. But checking in is so important to find out what the core of that is,
Awareness, awareness, awareness. It's all about awareness. Okay, so what's the second point?
Getting a baseline read. And that simply means that you make a statement that is obviously true. My name is Miriam Dow. My body sways forward, and again, I'm sitting down, but because I'm used to this, it just does. And that is true. And my name is Susan. No, my name is not Susan. Okay. And because I swayed forward on what I know to be true, my name is Miriam Dow, and backward on what I know is not true, my name isn't Susan, then I know that my body is in a space to muscle test accurately. It can get a little funky sometimes, as for instance, if you're dehydrated, if you're not grounded, if you're not actually, haven't taken the time to get into the breathing and coming into your body and quieting your mind, you may be getting, funny readings that don't feel right or don't feel good. And so doing the baseline testing just to make sure that, front is front, back is back, yes is yes, no is no, that's a good way to help you learn to trust it.
So if you are emotional, what happens?
You will begin working, the emotion takes over and begins you're not testing the emotion. You know, if you pick up a piece of chocolate and you say, I know this chocolate is good for me, and you really, really want the chocolate, well, then you're saying, yes, I desire this chocolate. But if you can come into a breathing space where you're more detached and you can tell whether the chocolate's good for you in that moment or not. And some days I can't eat chocolate, and some days I'm not supposed to eat it. So, you know, it just depends on where my body is in that moment. And so just coming into that space of quiet is so important, because that's when you know you have a good baseline. Whereas if you are angry at something, or you have a strong opinion about something, you're probably going to end up, you will sway in favor of that opinion every time, because that's what you're telling your body is true. Your body is very adaptable. It'll agree with you. Sure, whatever.
You're so convinced
yes.
of yourself. So being non-attached to the answer is really important. And sometimes if I'm like really like in a swirl or something's happened or whatever, I will come in and I will say to Miriam, here, hold my hand and sway. Because if we touch each other, she can sway for me. And that is another thing that you can do with this, which is really awesome. If you have a friend that you trust and you are in some emotional spin, they can come alongside of you. They're not emotional like you are, and they can help you. And it's simply a matter of touching the shoulder, holding the hand, physical connection, and that person can just stop, feel you and your energy, and ask the question to themselves and sway for you. Because if you're upset, like you just had a near car accident and you're all in this spin, you know, it's not a good time to sway. Or if you just got a call from your ex, and man, not a good time to sway. So if you really want to see, like if you're so mad at somebody and that you want to know if they're lying, you have to wait until you calm down. Now, if you can distance yourself from that and become detached from the answer, you can do it. Otherwise, find a friend and say, test this for me. And as long as you trust them, you know, implicitly, they can help you with the answer. Now, you know, this doesn't hold in court. I'm sorry.
Yeah, they're not that advanced yet. They're a little bit behind.
They don't know that. I wouldn't, you know, like use it as evidence of anything. It's for your own information. Be aware, be wary, be aware, be conscious, you know, of what is going on for yourself. And I especially love this for my personal benefit. If I pick up a can of deodorant in the grocery store and say, this is healthy for me, and I go back, I put it back on the shelf. Now, I don't go out there with a campaign on Facebook saying, don't buy that deodorant, it's terrible, it's awful. No, that's my truth in that moment, and I use it for me. And wow, has it ever transformed both of our lives, especially Miriam with her health concerns.
Absolutely.
Every day in the moment, to be in tune. There are a lot of people with agendas out there, even in the health food store. Everywhere you go, people want to sell you something. It may be good for you, but it may not be good for you. It might be great for somebody else, may not be for you. And so getting that information will transform your life. It will transform your health. And you will know if a salesman is just feeding you a line, or if this is really something that will benefit you. And that is what we're really after here today. So what is the third and last?
Practice. And it has become very second nature to me. You may not need it that often, but for me, finding my way out of a chronic illness, it was absolutely necessary for me every single day. And so I used it every day for a very long time. And so now it's second nature. But don't get stressed out about it. It's a very, if you bring a playful spirit to it, you can find that you enjoy it, you know, and you find out that, you know, that whatever produce you picked up today, because you swayed it, your body's like, ooh, we're really looking forward to that tonight at supper. And it actually increases your pleasurable experience with food. It can help you to avoid situations where, you know, you could get into into difficulties. You know, if you get into a situation and somebody asks you to go somewhere and you're like, that doesn't feel right, and then you ask your body about it, you don't have to know what's wrong with that. You don't have to know why your body says no, but you can trust when your body says no that, you know, better you don't do that. For me, it was, I began to sway test, when do I go out and when do I stay in? And it didn't always make a lot of sense. Like, as far as one day I could be feeling better and not go out, but then the other day I'm feeling a little bit worse, but I need to go. But it always worked right. You know, it always was, I was glad I stayed home, or I was glad I went, as I followed my body's patterns. And so you could use it for a lot of things that way.
We've used it for whether we should collaborate with people or not.
Mm-hmm.
Some people, you know, they look really good. They're very friendly. They're very, you know, bubbly and open, and they seem to be having a lot of alignment. But there may be like a little holdback, like, and remember, you're only asking yes or no questions. So, you know, you can't ask a question like, what's up with that person? That's not gonna work.
The body's like, what do you mean?
What are you talking about?
I don't know. That does not compute.
The body has ones and zeros.
Yeah.
You know, ones and zeros.
The binary system all the way.
That's it. So forward is a yes, back is a no, done. So basically, the question we would ask then is, should we proceed in a joint venture with this person? Asking the body that, yes or no. And we may never know why. It doesn't matter. We've learned not to need to know everything. What we do know is it's not a good time to do a joint venture with that person.
Yeah.
Done. Don't need to know anything else. So, you know, and there's no judgment in that. There's something that's just not in alignment. Could be a very fine person, but just not right now. So that's really, you know, where it's at, is just taking the information for what it's worth, for your own use. And if you do get a sense that somebody's lying, you know, maybe not be too involved with them, you know, or maybe call BS.
Yeah, depending on what you want to do with that.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's always your choice in the moment.
Exactly. Exactly.
So, yeah, that's the message. The sensitizing yourself to movement and tuning in, establishing a baseline, and then just practice the heck out of it. It is a lot of fun. You know, I've been using sway testing. I found fennel. I'd never eaten fennel before in my life, but I love it now. It was a food my body needed at that moment. And so you begin to be more adventurous and more open, and you feel more safe, I guess, because you can tell you have a baseline to know what's good for you and what may not be so good. You feel safer in moving into new things because you have something that guides you. You have a guideline.
We use it on the menus at a restaurant.
Absolutely.
Will I like this? Wow, it's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or will I feel good after I eat this?
Yes, that's the more important one.
Yeah.
But yeah, the thing that will make you feel good after you eat is the thing you'll enjoy the most sensorily as well.
Yes,
so
yes, exactly.
It'll taste good to you.
It'll taste good.
We promise.
Awesome. Yeah. Okay, so check out the videos of the sway testing. We have them in the description box. Also go to medicalmediummiriam.com, and Miriam has put those sway testing videos on her in her Facebook group. So go over there. She's got a lot of other good, really, you know, good stuff there as well. So subscribe, like, and share. Thanks so much. Bye.
Bye.